20th, 2011, regular meeting of the Union County Board of Children Freeholders. May I have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Fielder Carter. Fielder Estrada.
Here.
Fielder Hudak.
Here.
Fielder Jallo.
Here.
Fielder Kowalski. Here. Fielder Sullivan.
Here.
Fielder Ward. Here. Vice Chairman Mirabella.
Here.
Chairman Scanlon.
Here.
9 present.
Thank you. Would you please lead us in the prayer and salute the flag?
Humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with His will and to grant the light of His Spirit on all who work for justice and peace.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you read the statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act?
The Chair wishes to announce that pursuant to requirements of New Jersey statutes indicated, Title 10, Chapter 4, Section 10, the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union has been given by mailing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2011, along with periodic changes necessitated by circumstances to the newspaper circulating within the County of Union who are designated to receive this notice. They're posting the annual meeting schedule for the year 2011 in the Administration Building, and further by filing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2011 at the Office of the County Clerk.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the communications?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Moved by the Vice Chairman, seconded by Fielder Carter. May I have a roll call, please?
Fielder Carter? Yes. Fielder Estrada?
Yes.
Fielder Hudak?
Aye.
Fielder Jallo?
Aye.
Fielder Kowalski? Yes. Fielder Sullivan?
Aye.
Fielder Ward?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Mirabella?
Aye.
Chairman Scanlon.
Aye.
9 in the affirmative.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 6, 2011 agenda setting meeting?
Second.
Moved by Fielder Carter, seconded by Fielder Jallo. May I have a roll call, please?
Fielder Carter? Yes. Freeholder Estrada?
Yes.
Freeholder Hudak?
Aye.
Freeholder Jallo?
Aye.
Fielder Kowalski? Abstain. Thank you. Fielder Sullivan?
Aye.
Freeholder Ward? Abstain. Vice Chairman Mirabella?
Aye.
Chairman Scanlon.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative with 2 abstentions, ma'am.
Thank you. The meeting is now open to the public for the purpose of commenting on resolutions being offered for adoption only. Kindly state your name and town of residence for the record and adhere to the 5-minute time limit. Also, if you would please indicate the resolution number to which you are referring.
Good evening, Chairwoman Scanlon, ladies and gentlemen. On the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson, Garland, New Jersey. This is what I like to see is always a small agenda, minimal resolutions. Like I noted about 2 years ago when something like this happened, it's like the Republicans took over again, you know. But just on page 2, number 921, which is the one adding $135,000 to $970,000 for Holzman Healthcare. I appreciate Freeholder Java asking a lot of questions. Just some additional questions. Is this increase based on some dollar per hour? So I guess that's one question. And another is, I just wonder, even though it's reimbursed by Medicare, I was just wondering why you don't have this done in-house with somebody on staff. Same page 2 down near the bottom, number 926. That's the $1,020,000 that was given to the towns by way of the Kids Recreation Trust Fund. As a resident of Garwood, at least I say thank you very much for the $25,000. I guess the question is, I think I know what this is. Was that money from like so many dollars per round of golf? Is that how it's generated? Because I know you're mentioning Open Space Trust Fund, but I thought this was being generated a different way. I think Freeholder Estrada had initiated the program. Also, is this an increase or a decrease dollar amount from last year? And also, it appears somehow Kenilworth and West Winfield Park was left out. Somebody could just explain why they dropped through the cracks. And that's it. This is a very minimal agenda, so minimal questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Ms. Wheeler to respond to 921.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. The rate per hour is $80 an hour for our contracted occupational therapist. We have all of our occupational therapists are contracted to provide the service that they do. And we've chosen to do that because it is less expensive than employing them and paying their benefits. I think that answers the question. You're welcome.
Madam Chair, can you answer the question? I can answer the question. Yeah, that's fine. The two towns that did not apply for the funds, Field and Kenilworth, and the revenues are it's the same as last year. It was $1 million program, so it didn't change from last year, and the money just comes out of the general revenues of the open space.
And I think something that should be pointed out is that while we offer these grants, we also make follow-up calls to the trust department, who makes a follow-up calls to the towns who haven't submitted their applications to make sure that they know that the grant is available, that they know enough to submit an application for it. And after a couple of calls, we stop, but we do give them ample opportunity to apply for the grant money.
It's absolutely true, and that was true on the grants from the historic preservation, which we did, and we always do that. Everyone has the same opportunity as everyone else. In different years, they have different requirements, so sometimes do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, is anyone else who'd like to comment on the resolutions being offered for adoption at this meeting? All right, seeing no one, I'm going to close this portion of the meeting, and I'm going to ask for a motion to adopt the resolutions 2011-916 through 2011-935.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Moved by Field and Sullivan, seconded by Field and Vice Chairman Mirabella. May I have a roll call, please?
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Hudak.
Aye.
Freeholder Jallo.
Aye.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Aye.
Freeholder Ward. Vice Chairman Mirabella. Chairman Scanlon.
Aye.
9 in the affirmative.
Thank you. Meeting is now open to the public for the purpose of commenting on any matter. Again, kindly state your name and town of residence for the record and adhere to the 5-minute time limit.
George Kazagaraitis, Elizabeth, living in Town. I'd like to revisit Resolution 894 as to Armorock and the food that we spoke of last time. And perhaps I didn't get my point through that what it is there's two separate kinds of food. One served to the general public, which is of lesser quality, and one served to those of a religious affiliation, in this case, the people that convert to Islam. So it's not right for some people to get good food and others not. On the related subject with Armorock, Lady Scanlon, I would like to mention that there are items in what's called the commissary list, things that people buy in jail with their own money. And things such as soup, for example, that's sold for 20 cents in the market is sold for $1.10 in jail. Or chips that go for 25 cents are sold for $1. Are sort of a black market situation in jail. I just wanted to inform you and have you understand these things for everybody's benefit. Thank you, Mrs. Campbell.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Jeffrey Ravello. I'm from Hackensack, New Jersey, and I'm here to raise something to the board of national significance, which is the Glass-Steagall Act, which is now before the Congress. I'm calling upon the board to endorse the reinstatement of Glass-Steagall. Glass-Steagall is a law, as many of you would know, that was first instituted under Franklin Roosevelt to establish a legal separation between normal savings and loan banking and Wall Street investment firms. At this point, our nation is now indebted in the tens of trillions of dollars, somewhere we don't exactly even know the actual figures because so much has been lied about. But it's not, at least 17 and probably closer to $30 trillion, including the recent underwriting of the bailout of the euro by our Treasury Secretary. We are now on the verge of the greatest financial collapse in world history. We're very close to that period right now. So the enactment of this legislation is urgently needed for the good of our nation. It is now before the Congress. We have garnered the support of 48 congressmen, none so far from the state of New Jersey, for this legislation, and we need to move it to the Senate. So I have a list for you of sponsors, but I thought just briefly, for your benefit, I would read you some of the support already from the state of New Jersey. The New Jersey State AFL-CIO has endorsed the legislation. The National AFL-CIO has also endorsed it. The Middlesex Somerset Central Labor Council of the AFL-CIO, the Township of Mansfield, New Jersey, the City Council of Irvington, City Council of Newton, and the City Council of Elizabeth in New Jersey. And also, most recently, the Common Council of the City of Buffalo, New York. But those are just a few examples. We have a whole list, and I have a package for you, which I can deliver to the young lady for your. But that's my request, and I would ask someone on the council to please take this up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Freeholders, my name is Martin Jasper.
Sorry.
My name is Martin Jasper.
Good evening, Mr. Bell.
Good evening. And I am here from Jersey City. I'd like to comment further on what my colleague has said. I was looking at some statistics today, and I'm happy to see that the median income for a household was over $55,000 in this community, and the median income for a family was over $65,000. And that's, given the situation we have these days, that's pretty darn good, so I congratulate you on that. I also congratulate you on finding the funds, which I didn't expect to see, to do all that upgrading of facilities for youngsters. It's terrific. Couldn't do better. But with all that, I want to point out the same statistics say that about 6.3% of families and 8.4% of the population were below the poverty line, including 10.5% of those under 18 and 8% of those over age 65. Now, again, as things go, that's not too bad, but it's bad if you're one of those people. I don't think I have to tell you that there were a lot of people hurting tonight, and for some time, and as we know, for some time to come. This is the reason we speak about Glass-Steagall. Glass-Steagall will make it impossible for the government to have to spend trillions of dollars to bail out financial institutions here in the U.S. and overseas. And if it hurts some of those financial institutions in Wall Street, perhaps that's not so bad. Because if you think about the speculation that's gone on, it benefited no one but a tiny fraction of a percent of the population and took a fortune away from the rest of us. It's extremely important that you take a look at this, consider it, and think about it when you look at your austerity budget. And I'm sure even though this appears to be a fairly wealthy community, comfortable by most standards, I don't think there is a single community in the USA that is not working on an austerity basis. And why are you working on an austerity basis? Everybody paid their taxes, no different than any other time. How did we get here? We got here because speculators forced the U.S. government to bail out their losses by finding a way to become wholly owned by banks so that the government would have to bail them out. The U.S. government is allowed by law to bail out business and savings banks if the fall of those banks looks like it may substantially injure the country. It is not allowed by law to bail out investment banks. And yet that's exactly what happened, and nobody said a word. Because the investment banks aligned, which were not allowed to get that money back, aligned themselves with the other banks, which is illegal under the Glass-Steagall law, the original law that we were talking about, and that was put into place by Franklin Roosevelt in 1933, when the country was hurting at least as badly as it is now. That kept everything from falling apart until that law was taken off the books in 1999. And you just look around you and think back to what has happened since 1999. So please take this request seriously and convince your federal representatives to push this bill through, whatever they have to do. Thank you.
Good evening, Freeholders. I'm here tonight my name is Dan Clifford, Westfield, New Jersey, and I'm here tonight in regards to some recent articles I've been reading regarding the mid-block crosswalk on Central Avenue in Westfield, and I know there were some residents who were here, I think, from the last meeting to discuss that too. For those of you familiar with the area, I live right near there on Boulevard, and I participated in a number of the public meetings that took place at that time to discuss the light. So, a couple of things about the light, I mean, that they were trying to do. Basically, you were trying to provide a safer crossing for the children to cross Central Avenue so they can get to school, which I think the light's working, right? It's a good idea because the last thing Central Avenue needs is another full light, and that was the other alternative. There's already enough congestion, and there's a lot of traffic on the cut-through streets, and there's schools on the cut-through streets, and if there's people blocked there, they're using them a lot. I mean, I live on one of them on Boulevard, I see it all the time. So one of the things I just wanted to make you aware of is there really are two sides of the story. You know, that I understand that some people are a little upset about where the placement of the light happened, but there's, first of all, the Hawk light, I know there's some, which is the light that just pedestrians operate, it's not the full light. There's some issues with that too that I've read conflicting, that some people don't recommend, some of the traffic people don't recommend that you put that on a corner. So that light couldn't be moved. There's the good possibility that that same light couldn't be moved to the corner of Clover. And that what would have to happen is that a full traffic light would have to go in. And again, I think if that happens, it can create a lot more problems. And it was one of the long discussions we had as I went to all those public meetings. And there were a lot of people and a lot of residents very upset and very against the light too. So I just want you guys to consider that. I know there was some talk about getting a third party. I just want to make sure we don't go down any path that really, you know, we can't change and that we end up with a light on that corner.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay, thanks.
Appreciate getting another side to all agree.
Yep, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Good evening, Chairwoman Sandlin, ladies and gentlemen. The Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson, Garwood, New Jersey. Mr. Jasper, you know, obviously he's from Jersey City, he's not from the county, but he, I guess, congratulate you for finding funds for the upgrades of the parks and stuff through the Open Space Trust Fund. But I guess just for a point of note, you know, that money actually is coming from the residents going through a trust fund, you know, as taxes, going through trust fund and being turned back to the residents. So, I mean, all it's doing is coming out of one pocket, going back into the other pocket. Of course, the county has some kind of dig removed from it, but that's how it is. It's just not bound money. But in addition, I just wanted to... Oh, I was at the, I was at the debate last night, which was great. You know, and it was good to see a lot of the freeholders there as observers, and even county workers that were there as observers. So it was very nice, very informative, of course, as usual. I go to everyone every year. Not really said at the debate, but then I'm looking at the Westfield leader, and I guess he called in the freeholder candidates, and one of them was Freeholder Hudak. He just mentioned about the Blaustein School of Planning and Public Policy, and I just have a question on that. This is in the paper, maybe it was Mr. Lane was talking about it. It says, to conduct an economic assessment of the county, including the impact of Music Fest on the economy. I know the couple of times that you mentioned Blaustein's study, upcoming study, you only mentioned that it was the impact of Music Fest on the county. However, now I see actually, it looks like that's only a secondary study of Blaustein. And then the primary is economic assessment of the county, which I don't understand. Something doesn't make sense here. I mean, is it just primarily the Music Fest, or is the Music Fest a second thought? So, but I guess that's it. I really don't have much. It's quiet. I wish everybody good luck on the elections, upcoming elections, and also happy Halloween. Thank you.
I think Mr. Guzzo can respond to your questions about the lessons study. I hope.
Through you, Madam Chair. As we all know, you can always believe, take what you read in the paper as being accurate. So I'm sure that what was said was that the Blaustein study, really that particular study is dealing with Music Fest and its economic impact on Union County and the surrounding area. So as all of you know, surveys were taken throughout the 3 to 4 days that were there. They're presently in the process of they've been turned into Rutgers, who are crunching the numbers, and also have done interviews with the various businesses up and down those corridors to try to truly gauge how much impact and how well people receive it as a result of getting an economic boost as a result of having that festival in Union County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, John Berry, Kenilworth. Yeah, I was at the debate too, and seemed to be on a need-to-know basis as far as when it took place and all that. I just kind of learned about it like 2 hours beforehand. They might want to publicize it, but actually being there, you wouldn't want to. You probably did right by not publicizing it. There was nothing that really came out of it, I thought. I just have one thing, and it's in response to a comment last week about the Harrisburg bankruptcy and how it being no connection at all as to what is happening in Union County with Covanta. I do see a connection, not with Covanta, because Covanta wasn't the villain there. They were trying to pick up the pieces afterward. According to a history of that Harrisburg incinerator debacle, the villain was a company called Barlow Projects, which is a Colorado-based incinerator technology company that underbid everyone and started rebuilding the facility in 2000. They failed miserably, they're bankrupt. The connection is in how Barlow was hired. Now, according to Fred Clark, who's the chairman of the Harrisburg Authority at the time, and this was from an article in 2007 when Covanta was coming in and they were expecting big things, but they were really knocking Barlow. And he said that as a part-time, unpaid authority board member, he and his colleagues were not in a position to do much digging or research. They largely relied on the recommendations of staff and hired experts. He's quoted as saying, "I'm not an engineer, nor are any other board members, nor are the vast majority of the people who serve in these roles. We do rely heavily on the professionals who guide us and give us opinions."
And they did a lot of studies, one of the most studied things that the ex-mayor, Stephen Reed, ever done. Now this is where I see an eerie familiarity to Union County and what you're doing here. Among the issues I've seen are Sullivan Associates coming in and with a phony actuarial report. Really, I'm an actuary, I spotted that right away, justifying providing lifetime health benefits, and that I see is $50 million. Dakota's swearing that SREX would pay for solar panels. There's another 15 million coming. Getting into the wedding banquet business to build the Galloping Hill Clubhouse, that's 20 million. Refurbishing Oakwood Plaza, thinking Section 8 housing would pay for it, that's another 20 million. Then we saw Music Fest, that's another $1 million a year. And finally, the UCWay Covanta deal, which first was sold as 276 million, benefiting the taxpayers. Now it's 75 million, which was mentioned at the last debate. And when you factor in the additional 24 million in debt, 1 million in fees, and an undisclosed number that I still haven't gotten a number on, lost revenue, I'd say 100 million. So this is basically a $50 million loser if you look at it objectively. So the connection here being that for Harrisburg, which has an annual budget of only $56 million, being duped into $288 million in debt for one project, that was like a massive stab wound that just killed the city. Whereas in Union County, what I see is just a bunch of pricks accomplishing the same thing.
Excuse me, sir, will you clean up your language? Mr. Berry, that language is not acceptable, and it's not correct to use that language here, and I'd appreciate it, since this is the second time I've had to mention it to you, if you would refrain from that in the future. Is there anyone else who'd like to comment this evening with regard to any matter? Thank you. I'm going to ask for freeholder reports and comments, and I'm going to start with Dean Carter. Thank you. Fielder Strada.
Yes, just reminding everyone about an election that is coming up in November. Very important for people to go out to express their opinions. Also, if you have an opportunity, the clerk's office is open here in Elizabeth from 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 in the morning to 4:30 every day for voting purposes. Anybody wants to stop by and vote in advance. It's always good time to do mail applications for voting by mail. Or you can actually also have also the Westfield office is handling this as well. If you have any questions about the process, here's a number, 908-527-4996. Thank you.
Thank you. Fielder Ward.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to thank all of our members of the public that came out and spoke this evening, and also the two gentlemen that brought to our attention the Glass Legal Act. That's something I remember hearing about a few years back, especially when the economy started going bad, and reading about the history of it and how it came about. And then there really wasn't a whole lot of talk about it for quite some time. And so thank you for bringing it to our attention about that it is pending in Congress right now. That's something that I will read up upon. I'm sure most of the freeholders here will as well, to find out whether or not our congressmen are supporting it or not supporting it, and the reasons why. So again, it's a very important issue. And thank you for bringing it out for the public knowledge as well. So it's something that we should all definitely pay a lot of attention to. And other than that, there are just a few more events that are coming up this October, which I'd like to talk about here in Union County, and that is there are still many hay rides that are still available for families to attend, and also stargazing events, and for horse lovers in the family, there is the annual troop show at the Watchung Stables. This Saturday, also as a reminder, October 22nd, is Red Ribbon Day, which includes an entire day of fun activities up at the Oak Ridge Park in Clark. And of course, right after Halloween, one of my favorite events, and that's the pumpkin sale this year taking place at Lake Surprise. You can find out all about our fall activities by visiting us on the web at www.ucmj.org. Thank you, Chairman. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. Fielder Huda.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to remind everyone watching at home that St. Elizabeth Church in Elizabeth will be holding a free job symposium this Saturday, October 22nd. This is a great resource if you'd like to update your job search skills, especially if you want to learn how to use social media to your benefit. The symposium is free, but pre-registration is required. You can find out all the information on the flyer at the Union County website, which again is ucnj.org, or call 908-289-0681. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Sullivan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to, as Freeholder Estrada said, November 8th is Election Day. Hopefully everyone will get out and cast their vote. I know I'll be voting for. And I wanted to wish Freeholder Hudak and Freeholder Estrada good luck on an election. And again, give credit to everyone who puts their name on a ballot and is out running on Election Day. It's how our democracy works, so please participate. We really, this is an election that is famous for having a very low turnout, so it's important that everyone get out, support your local candidates, county, state, legislatures, and best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Sullivan, and we're happy to have Freeholder Kowalski back with us tonight. Freeholder, give any comments?
I'd just like to add my good wishes to Freeholders Estrada and Hudak, and also to Freeholder candidate Mr. Nell Wright. So again, encourage everyone to vote.
Thank you. Freeholder Jolly.
But at this time, Chair.
County Council?
No comment.
County Manager?
Just a couple, Madam Chair. This is a busy time of the year for us, for our Parks Department, and just having left there, it's still near and dear to my heart. But in addition to a couple of the events that were mentioned, I'd just like to talk about a few other ones that will be taking place. On Tuesday, October 25th, the county will be hosting the Lenape Park Trail dedication in the Kenilworth Boulevard in Cranford at 11 a.m. This is a 1.45-mile path that was constructed at Lenape, passing through sections of Cranford, Kenilworth, Springfield, and Union. This is an important link in the East Coast Greenway. It was put together utilizing a $500,000 grant from the state and $170,000 from Union County Open Space. On Wednesday, October 26th, the City of Elizabeth and Groundwork Elizabeth will be breaking ground on the Elizabeth Trail at the St. John's Parsonage on Pearl Street. This is also home to our Union County Cultural and Heritage Division. On November 1st at 11 a.m., we will be dedicating the new water wheel and refurbished gazebo at Echo Lake Park in Mountainside. Mrs. Barbara Levinson of Mountainside provided the funds, which came from memorial contributions in memory of her late son, Kip. Hours later, the park will be transformed into one of the most popular events we have in the year, our annual pumpkin sale. These events are all open to the public, and we're looking forward to all of our residents celebrating the fall with us. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of comments I have. First, I want to congratulate Councilwoman Desrow for staying after she got her check. I appreciate that. Councilwoman, it's nice to see you actively participating. I certainly understand the other dignitaries that were here that have taken their check. They have other things to do, but I certainly did look for you getting up to the entire meeting. The fact that you stayed, I appreciate it. You're a fine representative for the residents of Roselle, and certainly pass my good wishes to the future mayor, Holly. I'm sure he'll be successful in a couple of weeks as well. I had an opportunity to attend the debate as well yesterday, and to me it was just very clear who will do a good job for this county, and that is certainly Freeholder Hudak, Freeholder Estrada, and candidate Wright. It seemed to me that their opponents were against a lot of things, but they weren't for many things. Didn't see any proposals or anything that would cause anybody to vote for them, and it was really very clear distinction in my mind who is the right candidates or the Democratic candidates. So I'm sure they'll be successful on election day. I know they've worked hard to earn the votes of the residents of this county. I'm happy to see Freeholder Kowalski. She's been quite a trooper and had surgery and is here quicker than I think any of us thought. So nice to see you back on your feet, Freeholder. And I also, as Freeholder Ward mentioned, the Red Ribbon Day. If you can get over to that park, it's at Oak Ridge Park this year, which is different than where it's been in Mohegan Park prior to this. There's a walk earlier in the morning, and then the official program is at 11 o'clock. So if you can be there and participate. There's a lot of good messages from law enforcement, and it's a fun day and a nice day for families. And then just finishing up, Madam Chair, I want to definitely give some credit to the folks in Clark for in honor of their library, which is having their 50th anniversary celebration on Sunday. And I'll be participating with several of the other freeholders in that event. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. And I just have a couple of comments myself. I first want to wish Freeholders Estrada and Hudak and Ms. Wright also the best of luck on Election Day. We don't have a meeting now until the Thursday after November 10th. So I want to make sure to wish them the best of luck. I wanted to comment on the opening of Master's Barn, which occurred on Sunday up at the deserted village, Feltville, in Berkeley Heights. It was well attended, and it was a beautiful day. And the barn looks fabulous. The architects and the builders did a fabulous job on it, and it'll be around now for another 100 or so years, and we'll be able to make really good use of it. It's a good place now to hold events and to have maybe a freeholder meeting next year.
I won't be there.
Tried.
Good suggestion.
I tried. But anyway, that's open, and if you get a chance to go up to Feltville and take a walk around right now, we're doing the haunted hay rides going on at Hillside, and it's all in the same general area. So if you get an opportunity to go up and take a hay ride, go look at the barn and the deserted village, it's really pretty fascinating. I want to talk about Women of Excellence. That's an event that occurs every year in, I guess, March. It's not too, in fact, I know March, in fact. So it's not too late to submit your nomination for the 2012 Women of Excellence Award. This is an annual award sponsored by the Freeholder Board and the Commission on the Establishment of Women. And it's been sponsored for the past 20 years. And it just helps remind us that women make a rich and varied contribution to life in Union County. For more information, you can visit the county website at www.ucnj.org or call us at 908-527-4144. And I just wanted to respond, and usually I don't, but sometimes you just have to respond to people. With regard to the comments on the solar panels, Tioga is our provider of solar panels. They're actually our installer, I should say. And our risk exposure in that regard is entirely different from Solandro's. Solandro was overwhelmed by cheaper products that were made in China. Our contractors don't manufacture solar panels. They're service providers and installers, so they're not going to be overwhelmed by cheaper products because they service and install them. I just want to make that clear so that people of Union County understand that we're not wasting your money. We're not using it for things that are going to cause us to go bankrupt. Certainly, we're very careful with our dollars, and we keep a close eye on them. And with that, I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn.
So, Madam Chair.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.